Not only does Wisconsin love their cheese, but they also love their white supremacists. Here's the Vanguard talking about the Rittenhouse case.
Prevent protesting, to prevent the congregation of Black Lives Matter activists. But yeah, what was your response to Tulsi's commentary on this, Kamali? I know you had some words for her.
Yeah, I think she also mentioned something about like Antifa or some shit. In
Antifa-loving politicians, Kamali, they're everywhere.
Antifa-loving, and my response to that was that if you are anti-fascist, okay, that makes you fucking fascist. All right, we all know how devil's negatives work. All right, we all know how they fucking work. All right. And that's exactly what.
So hell yeah, that was Kamali Rose. He's right. An anti-fascist is a fascist motherfucker. You're against fascism? Well, you're against the people who's against fascism because you're a fascist piece of shit, right? You're a right-wing fascist, bullying, low-life, degenerate, violent, disgusting, criminal, low-life piece of shit. You got no fucking morals. You ain't got no code, you low-life piece of shit. So fuck a fascist. Fuck a fascist. The whole thing was, it was a Black Lives Matter protest. You're also going to have, some Antifa, some communists, some lefties, right? So you're going to have white allies, Black Lives Matters, and, this is Rittenhouse's, he's going to, what the fuck? This is some bullshit. What? Sick of Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter doesn't ask for enough. Black Lives Matter so much. Get them food, clothing, housing, shelter, universal basic income. Stop with the police brutality. Black lives are substantial. Black lives are significant. Black lives are fantastic. Black lives are worthy of celebration. Black Lives Matter, it's not even enough. So it's basically the bottom of, it's like I Am a Man, right? With the garbage workers strike that got Martin Luther King killed. So the first thing I want to mention is that this is the Jacob Blake protest. So Jacob Blake, right? Jacob Blake got shot in the back several times. They said he had a gun he had a knife. He had a knife. He had no gun, though. So he's walking away from the police officers. Apparently, there was a warrant for his arrest. This is, whatever you want to say about this specific thing, I think it's incredible when black folks actually stand up for one another. They're sick of the bullshit. They're sick of this shit happening. It happens to white people, but when white people go down, you don't hear anything from the white communities. What happened? Johnny Hurley, right? Johnny Hurley got fucking shot for being a hero, for being a goddamn hero. And, does anybody give him a medal? No, he got shot and killed. Shot and killed for saving the day. Hey, Johnny Hurley, thanks for saving the day. Are we going to go get justice for Johnny Hurley? No, we're going to give the police officer, not just the benefit of the doubt, but we're just going to give him, I don't know, what's more than benefit of the doubt. So let's listen to some more Vanguard.
Tulsi she was telling us what she was. Like, I saw through Tulsi's bullshit as soon as she came out with that flip-flop bullshit on Medicare for All. I saw right through her fucking act, all right? And there's this thing that happens on the left, and it's really the split between black socialists in America. They have this just exquisite thread where they lay a lot of this out for a lot of these people and explain the folly of these so-called, these so-called leftists that we have. And it's really differentiating between authoritarian leftists and revolutionary leftists, and authoritarian leftists are people that still want to uphold the state, still fine with nation states, and want to obtain their power through.
So Kamali's kicking ass again. I mean, he's making a distinction between authoritarian and revolutionary leftists. What kind of leftist are you? You an authoritarian, fascist, fucking piece of shit leftist, or are you a revolutionary leftist? So fantastic. So Kyle Rittenhouse, I'm going to make the case that he's racist. He's racist. He goes to a whole nother state to go fight those Black Lives Matters protesters and Antifa and the leftists and the liberals or whatever. Well, that's Nixon's war on drugs. Why'd we start the war on drugs? According to Nixon's Secretary of State or some shit, one of the people from his cabinet just straight up, Nixon started the war on drugs to go after black people, to go after Antifa, to go after the left liberal anti-war hippie, that's the left liberal. They've been doing the same shit for since the 1960s, for 60 fucking years. So Rittenhouse going after the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa people, that's just Nixon's war on drugs. That's Southern strategy. That's a dog whistle. So that's, some historical context. Rittenhouse is also a high school dropout. How come nobody's talking about that? He's a high school dropout. So that means he dropped out of school. Dropped out of school. He also doesn't have a father. Where the hell is his father at? I mean, my God, he wants a gun. Mama gives him a gun, and then he's, driving all over Timbuktu, all over America, just, looking for some Black Lives Matter. Somebody who says, wait, you think Black Lives Matter? That's what pissed him off, that somebody said that Black Lives Matter. They do matter. And like I said, they should be celebrated. Every life should be celebrated. But I feel like Black Lives Matter isn't asking for, that's the bottom of the barrel. They're asking for the least amount possible. Hey, my life matters. No, it doesn't. Motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me? We all need water. No, you don't. Fuck you. You got a problem with what? My family wanting some water? You pieces of shit motherfuckers. So Rittenhouse, he's going around doing this little okay sign. He's got a bunch of pictures doing okay sign, right? That's a racist dog whistle, right? All these motherfuckers doing okay signs and shit. So he's doing the okay signs. He goes to, protest the Black Lives Matter, protest. And he's, high school dropout, no father. So not, a ton of things. But why the fuck are you going to the goddamn protest? I mean, why are you flashing the okay sign? The okay sign, right? That's like a dog whistle. You see those, white supremacists, instead of like saying or doing clear white supremacist shit, they're just doing the A-OK sign, right? That's all they're doing. Hey, I'm A-OK. You A-OK? Huh, Rittenhouse? You just A-OK, huh, Rittenhouse? So Clarence Gaillard, he got his head stomped by a white cop. Now he's going to get $650,000. He's going to get some justice. He's going to get a lot of justice. And, Columbia, South Carolina is going to have to pony up $650,000 for Clarence Gaillard. The reason why I bring him up is because I don't even know if we would have known about the case if he didn't actually win his case. No telling how many times this happens to black folks. Elijah McClain was just walking down the street and he had a mask on. And then you had, Isaiah Brown, he had a phone, right? His phone was up to his head. But Clarence Gaillard, the reason why he got $650,000 from Columbia, South Carolina, is because he got his head stomped by a white cop. He had pins in his legs. He told to get down on his stomach. He didn't get down on the stomach quick enough, so the white cop, kicked him in the head because he didn't lay down fast enough. He's a 58-year-old man. An old man with pins in his legs couldn't lay down fast enough. But why did they call 911 in the first place? What was the initial, 911 call? Why does this... what the fuck happened? Well, he had a walking stick with some shiny tape on it. An old man had a walking stick? Well, Jesus Christ, declare martial law. Let's get the SWAT team out here. Call the National Guard. We got a black man with a walking stick with some shiny tape on it. So when it comes to people saying if a black man was Kyle Rittenhouse, they would have got shot up immediately. That's absolutely right. A black man walking around with a gun, he's not an American. He don't get the Second Amendment. Only a Rittenhouse gets, a white supremacist piece of, they get the Second Amendment. But here you have Clarence Gaillard. He just had a walking stick. He had a walking stick. He's an old man. It helps him with the walks, dogs. You got stray dogs and stuff. He pokes the stray dogs with them. So when it comes to black folks versus white folks having guns in America, if you're black in America and you just have a stick, if you have a cell phone, that's up to your head it's black. If you have a black object, if you got a stick, a thing that may somehow be misconstrued as a gun, you'll get shot and gunned down. So you're asking me if a black man would have gone to Kenosha with the fucking there was, protesters everywhere. So let's imagine all those protesters had AR-15s. They all had AR-15s. You're telling me the cops doesn't just fucking wantonly slaughter the entire... No, I think that's, and I don't know if that's correct or not, but what I do know is a black man with a gun means that black man is probably going to get shot if the cops come up. If the cops come up, they're not going to say, hey, we're glad that you holstered that gun. We're glad you're part of the NRA. You know, that's what happened to Philando Castile. What happened to Philando Castile? Where was the NRA on that? The guy said, hey, you know, for my protection, your protection, I got a gun in the car. That's what you're supposed to say. That's what the NRA teaches people to say. You're an American. You have the Second Amendment. You got the First Amendment, Third Amendment. There's a lot of fucking freedoms, not just the fact that people have so much problems with the first two freedoms. You got a problem with speech. You got a problem with guns. Fuck you. What kind of American are you, motherfucker? Jesus Christ. So for Clarence Gaillard, his crime was that he had a walking stick that has some shiny tape on it. And that's it. That's it. A citizen mistaked a stick for a gun, and then he got his head stomped by a white cop. So a black man isn't even allowed to carry a stick. He couldn't even carry a stick. Imagine if he had an AR-15. Yes, officer, I'm carrying an AR-15 because I'm a lawful American and this is my right to do. I'm allowed to do this. Yeah, right. Cop shoots and kills him, says he had a gun. Nobody asked any fucking questions, and now you got another. You know, you want to talk about having no father in black families. Well, how about them getting shot and killed? So they always do that with black folks too, right? They gotta, drag their name through the muck. Now, I will say this is, fantastic interview with Rashad Ritchie. That fucking Rosenbaum is a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. He's a child rape, and, he raped 5 boys. So that Rosenbaum's, I feel like, yeah, fuck him. Fuck that piece of shit. People say that wasn't what he was, but he was also going around, that Rosenbaum was going around shouting the N-word. So he's a racist piece of shit, a racist pedophile who chased down Rittenhouse. And if you look at the 3, people that got shot, it does look like he's doing it in self-defense if you, pretend that he didn't drive from Illinois to Kenosha. So while he was there with an AR-15, then you have, that Rosenbaum. Then you had somebody else that got shot at and it missed. And then you had somebody else that got shot through the bicep, splits the bicep. And then he shoots and kills somebody else. So the second man that's going to get killed, 2 people are going to get killed. One's going to get injured. And then he shoots at an unidentified man, but apparently he didn't get hit. So fuck that Rosenbaum. What about that Anthony Huber, right? That's the second man that got killed. And the second man that got killed, what started this entire thing was there's a motherfucker that actually fired a shot up into the air. So if Rittenhouse is running with a gun and somebody's chasing him and somebody fires, a shot up into the air, well, that is what triggered the one thing to the next thing, and now you got 2 dead bodies. So, yeah, I don't, the Anthony Huber, let's, focus on Anthony Huber. He seems like he wasn't that terrible. He wasn't a fucking Rosenbaum, right? And so Anthony Huber, apparently we're not allowed to call Anthony Huber a victim. He was shot and fucking killed. That's not a victim. I guess he had all that privilege. Anthony Huber had all that white privilege. He had so much white privilege that when he got shot and killed, they couldn't even call him a victim. You can't even call him a victim, but you can call him, a rioter or an arsonist or, anything else, whether he did it or not. Last thing I want to mention is the gun charge. So Rittenhouse is going to get the gun charge is going to get dropped, right? The gun charge. If you're under 18, you're not allowed to have a gun in Wisconsin. That's law. He would have got convicted of that. That's why the judge dropped that shit. There was some fucking argument about short barrel or long barrel or some bullshit. But the gun charge was one thing Rashad Ritchie and somebody that was on the other side had agreed on. Like, there was no arguments. There's no way you can, if the shooting was justified is one question, but then there's reckless endangerment. And then there was, if you're under 18, you can't carry a gun. If you're under 18, you can't carry a gun, a dangerous weapon. So he had not just, and they, apparently a shotgun's not a dangerous weapon, but a short-barreled shotgun. But what about a goddamn AR-15? What about a grenade launcher? What about a vehicle, right? A vehicle, that's a dangerous weapon. So if you're under 18, that's what the statute says. So if you just looked at the statute, I don't think you can, Rittenhouse is convicted of being under 18 and having a dangerous weapon. But they dropped that charge. And this goddamn judge has been very biased, yelling at the goddamn prosecution over and over again. And compare him to the Ahmaud Arbery judge, who actually seems to be, pretty even-handed, pretty fair. Seems to be calm, cool, collected. He doesn't seem to be, spouting off a bunch of making Asian jokes or whatever. A joke about Asians in a, white supremacist trial. You sure you want to make an Asian joke, an Asian food joke or some shit? The guy yelling at the, prosecutor and shit. Like, how dare you say that? How dare you say that? Like, he didn't say that. I guess the defense lawyer is pretty fucking cool, but, yeah, so this has been also the judge has been, putting his thumb on the scales. The judge clearly has a bias. The judge, is biased, and that's a reason to get the case thrown out. So Kyle Rittenhouse, what do I think? I think that the Ahmaud Arbery, I think the McMichaels are guilty as shit. And they should, serve a year to 5 years to life in jail. And the other one though, Rittenhouse, I almost feel like a lot of the white supremacists in the country are now focused on Rittenhouse because the Ahmaud Arbery thing is just, it's so blatant, right? There, what'd you kill him for? Well, he was robbing. What'd he steal? Oh, well, he was arson, rape, murder. What was he doing? Nothing. He was jogging. You didn't even know what the hell he was doing. He was jogging, and you killed him. So that's they have the McMichaels have no leg to stand on whatsoever. I think Rittenhouse, to me, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit mixed on the thing because in America the whole idea is we're supposed to have the right to bear arms, but you can't have it swinging. It's got to be holstered and it's got to have some sort of common sense, trigger control. You got to have gun etiquette. You can't, point it straight up, point it straight down. You can't go around swinging the gun everywhere and anywhere. So if Rittenhouse had done it properly, then I felt like if he was like marching in a, thing and the thing, I mean, if you're going to holster, how do you holster a rifle? I think you have to put it like in your back, right? If you're just got it in your hand and you're just kind of swinging it all over the place, is that not a threat? I mean, in the Wild West, if you pull your gun, then that's when it's on. But if you already got it in your hand, your gun's already pulled, right? So since it's already in your hand, the gun is already pulled. Therefore, somebody could, if they're afraid for their life and they shot him, then they would have been standing their ground. So I can understand how police officers and general public, general citizens can freak out when they come across somebody carrying an AR-15, but I could also understand how we have a right to bear arms, right? So you can't, with Clarence Gaillard, let's assume he did have, a shotgun, but it was holstered. He's allowed to walk around in America with a holstered shotgun. The Second Amendment says we have a right to bear arms, and that's liberally construed. So, we have a right to speak. We have a right to assemble. We have a right to bear arms. That's, that's American freedom. That's that's the first American freedoms. If you don't even understand, the first American freedoms that we have, I'm supposed to pretend that you know anything else? And let's listen to a little bit more Vanguard to end this off.
The state essentially, and they often get co-opted, and end up, aligning with fascists. And it's oftentimes through this, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And so, but the reality is that sometimes the enemy of your enemy is also your fucking enemy. They don't have the same goals in mind as you are, right? So just because they happen to be, so they'll be like, oh, well, I hate liberals and you hate liberals, so we must be friends, right? We both have a common enemy. Except the people that also hate liberals are sometimes fucking straight up fucking fascists, not fucking fascists, neo-fascists, fascists. They hate fucking liberals too, all right? Are we gonna say that because their enemy, we have the same enemy, that they're somehow our friend? Like fucking what's his name? Alex Jones over there that we saw earlier. Like, this dude fucking, he hates the mainstream media, Well, we hate the fucking mainstream media. Does that mean that Alex Jones should be our fucking friend, guys? Like, let's fucking think beyond that simple-minded fucking, purview. Like,